right, welcome to the Williamsville Public Library and Museum. Today is Wednesday, August 30th, 2023, and we're talking to sisters Lois Robison Thompson and Carol Robison Harris. And we really want to do this as part of our local history collection and take a look back at how Williamsville has changed over time. So what kinds of things do you miss the most, and how do you think things have changed since you were young, since you both grew up here in Williamsville?
Well, you could turn your kids loose in the morning and they could run the whole town. You didn't have to worry somebody going to hurt them. You know, it was very carefree, especially in summer. You know, you didn't have to worry. You knew friends and neighbors. You knew everybody in town.
The world has changed.
Yeah, and if you're doing something wrong, usually your parents found out before you got home. But I mean, and it wasn't, are you picking on my kid? They were just overlooking the people that they knew and everything. Mm-hmm. And the town was small.
So about how many people lived in Williamsville when you were growing up here? Because now we have about 1,500 people roughly.
Right.
So how many
it was there was like 275, 300 when I was born. And then 500.
So it's really grown, yeah.
The subdivisions were plotted and
built.
We
were so excited when that first subdivision was put into Williamsville. What is it called? What's
my
yours?
Subdivision?
Yeah.
Country Meadows.
Country Meadows. Oh, we thought that was wonderful when they put that in. And Grace and I went down, a lady was having an open house at one of the first houses. Us kids, the lady was so sweet, she let us come in and look at it. It was set up with furniture and everything.
Was she a real
like we were, were the customers.
Okay.
So she was so sweet to let us do that. We were so excited about the new subdivision coming to Williamsville.
Is that house still there?
Yes, it is. It's
Okay.
one of in the circle, the first circle there.
The inner circle.
So were you excited because it meant more kids coming to town, or just because it was something different?
Just because it was something new and different. We thought that was big time.
Yeah. And was the house different than the ones that you lived in? Was it much different?
A lot different.
Yeah, very much, because ours were just little tiny houses. This was like a split level, and we thought that was something else.
Do you remember about what year that was?
Probably 59.
Aside from things being different from a family perspective in terms of not being able to just let your kids go loose and maybe not knowing everybody, is there anything else about how things have changed in Williamsville?
Businesses aren't our main. We have some businesses that's coming back. That's good, but most of the businesses moved out to
box stores and in Springfield or Lincoln, you know.
And is that mainly when 55 came through instead of about 66?
Yes.
Okay. So people weren't coming through town anymore, basically.
No.
When you think of preserving Williamsville history, what comes to mind? What do you want to see preserved and protected for the next generations?
For one thing, the library here, because I help work in the boxcars, sorting through things that families in the area had donated. And, you know, I'm really old because I can remember clearly some of the items that people had brought in for display, which now we have a nice museum to be able to, you know, show people what it was like, for people to know they can come here for the history, what it was like, who the mayors were, who served on the board, you know,
we were talking about how when we were in school, Williamsville is basically a farming community, and the school being smaller, if we had this division that we talked about in school, there were the farm kids and the city kids. Okay. So us city kids would have to go to school. Sometimes the farmer kids that were lived on a farm. If there's a lot of snow, they didn't get to come in. But the city kids went to school anyway.
So that just wasn't fair, was it?
No, it was not.
That really wasn't fair.
In a way, it was fun because there was only the city kids, and we got to kind of have more fun that day because there weren't as many children.
Right. So now when you went to school, was grade school here in Williamsville?
Yes.
And what about junior high age?
That's when Sherman came.
Yeah, and then we had all kinds of friends.
So you went to the grade schools here in Williamsville.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what about junior high years? Also in Williamsville?
Yes.
And that's when Sherman
came
as well.
And then there was the other division, Sherman kids and Williamsville kids.
And was Was there a division? I mean,
Sort of,
was there
yeah.
some friction there when
Yes.
the two came together? Okay.
Yeah, so then we went from farm to city to, we had another division going on.
Well, I like to check out the guys that were coming from Sherman to.
And I remember the guys saying, we can't wait till the Sherman girls get here. There's some really cute Sherman girls.
Which I'm sure made you feel great. So then what about high school then? Was it Sherman, Williamsville combined
Yes.
here in
Yeah.
Williamsville?
Yeah, it was.
When you think about your time here in Williamsville and growing up as kids and as adults, were there any people in particular, aside from your parents, of course, which were very important, but were there others who you looked up to, who were maybe kind of mentors, or who inspired you in what you did, or the kind of people that you wanted to be?
Yeah, I think when my husband died, becoming a young widow, Betty Fowler invited me to Bible study, which she was leading, and she mentored me, and I now lead that Bible study.
Nice.
So that group, that small group of ladies that met once a week really helped me through that difficult time. And that group is still doing that for people that have lost their husbands. And we do have a couple of them that still have husbands. They've had other losses. And yeah, Betty really, she's very encouraging, and she was a teacher, so I think she knows how to lead a group, and I learned a lot from her.
And what about you, Carol?
I kind of got involved with the fire department, went through some training on emergency, and got my license.
Your license for
EMR, and at that age I thought, I'm not going to make it through this.
If she was younger, she would have been out there on the trucks.
I would have been out
if
there.
she didn't have her knee issues.
So how old were you when you got involved with the fire department?
That was about a year ago,
Okay.
and I was on there for about three and a half years.
Okay.
Just too bad you didn't discover it
Yeah.
sooner.
Okay.
Because I was kind of like my mom,
would've-
more
yeah.
into the medical field. And we took the 3-month course. And my grandson, he's chief of the fire department now. He encouraged me. He said, I know you can do it.
Mhm.
When I was about ready to give up, And, in respect to someone that has done things with their life, I respect him and his caring nature and everything. But you go back to so many people that I went to school with. Tommy Oakley, he's been mayor, and watched his kids. Still keeps that small town attitude on how the town should be. I don't always agree with everything he says. And he asked if I would serve on a committee. And I said, yeah, but how long is the term? He says, life.
Well, I'm sure he meant it as a compliment.
Yeah, I imagine he did.
When you think about things that you're proud of that you've done yourselves, you've both done a lot of things from raising your families to your businesses and such. What kinds of things are you most proud of?
I'm just proud that I've stuck it out. I didn't let, everybody's going to run across adversity in their life, and you never know what it's going to be, whether it be your children, losing your husband, or even losing your parents. I just didn't let it get me down, and my faith had a lot to do with that. And we had pastors that have helped us through the years, just being connected to a church and having church family. I think that just being strong through adversity.
And what about you, Carol? Are there things that you look back on that you're most proud of?
I'm proud of my kids.
And the ones that you helped raise through your daycare as well?
Yes.
Okay.
The ones that I know about.
Right.
I haven't checked the prison system yet,
But we'll assume that most of them are doing well and benefited from their time with you.
I know particularly hard time in my life was when my husband became sick, and he was head of the water and sewer department at the time. But the village and everything helped so much during that time, that transition. I think Kent Thompson I was really surprised how he must have really listened to what he was trying to train him, what he would have to take over and all. and the kindness that was, extended to my family.
One of the advantages of being in Williamsville, being in a smaller town.
Yeah, because we lost our brother. He was only 16, and we learned from a pretty young age that this town really pulls together when tragedy happens. So
when we talk about the community, obviously, as we've said, there's a lot of advantages. And you've both left your mark in positive ways in Williamsville. How do you want your family and community members to remember you?
The town can't keep going unless you volunteer to help, unless you serve, in committees. When you're retired, well, like I said, I can't wait to retire to take it easy. Well, I think most of us here know you're busier when you're retired than you were when you were working, but it's fun stuff, things that you didn't have time for before. And, I want to see this town survive and to grow. And yeah, there's things I don't approve of, but life goes on. You have to accept the newness, but keep the traditions.
Okay, so kind of that balanced perspective is what you'd like folks to remember about both of you. Thinking about that, when you think of the younger people, whether it's your grandkids or great-grandkids or just other young people or young families today in Williamsville, do you have any advice or wisdom that you'd like to pass along to them? Things that you maybe wish that you figured out sooner in your life, or that somebody had told you, or that you'd realized?
Well, I always think that kindness goes a long way. Whether you're in a big city, small, farm, kindness and showing respect for others for what they believe in, even if you don't agree. Be proud of where you came from.
What about you, Lois? You have anything to add to that?
just because you're shy and you don't talk a lot doesn't mean you don't have something you can do, and that is to listen. That people need someone to listen to them, to truly care about them and listen to. A lot of times just talking about things helps you work through your problems, and if you can be a good listener to somebody, then you've done a lot. Also, what I've learned is all the way through school, I tried to read as little as I could. I wasn't interested, so I wasn't going to read it. And now I found that just find something that you like that is interesting to you and read it. You may not be reading history books or science books, but I think reading is so important. I found out I just absolutely love to read books.
Takes you to places you haven't been or you'd like to go.
That I didn't think I was a reader until I found out. Get books that interest you. Don't read something just because they say it's popular. Read something that you like.
You can have your hiking book back. I'm not interested.
I tried to get her to read a hiking book.
So find something that is for you, and don't worry so much about
That's
what other
right,
people
because a
think.
lot of times you get caught up in, it was on the New York Times bestseller list, but sometimes those books are not anything that interests you, and you think, I'm a failure because I'm not reading that. But
you can learn too by reading.
So it comes back to that idea that you were talking about of being your own person, not being afraid to be your own person, and do your own thing and find what works for you.
Right.
Well, we've talked about a lot today. Is there anything else that comes to mind that you'd like to talk about in terms of your time here in Williamsville, or growing up here, businesses, local history, anything that we haven't talked about that you want to mention?
Well, it's a great place to live and raise a family and retire in.
Yeah, it's a beautiful town. Let's take a walk someday. It's gorgeous. It's just beautiful places. You can walk, there's some trails, and it's just, sometimes you just take a walk around town and you find out how beautiful it really is.
So getting a new perspective on Williamsville.
Yeah, well, and then you can always go out to the lake and sit there and
a lot of families spend their time out there.
Watch, fishing. They like to go out there and fish. So many people have come into town and commented. They call it Mayberry Town. What a clean, nice-looking, friendly town.
Yeah, if you're looking for beauty, you can find it here.
Yeah.
We go on great road trips, I know that.
Yeah. We start out, we go to our destination, and then we let ourselves get lost.
Okay.
It kind of, that's what Carol and I do, but some people don't understand that.
Well, we took Judy once, which she had something to go to later on, so we were on a time
That really
crunch.
cramped our style.
So when you're on a road trip, you don't like to have a schedule, is what
No.
you're saying.
No, we don't.
I learned the
Okay.
hard way.
Like-
No, you don't have a schedule.
Yeah, and then, just take off and,
Ooh, look at that over there. Let's go try that out.
yeah. Or the freedom to be able to get in the car and go somewhere.
It's that little sense of adventure that you both have.
Yes,
Mhm.
because we don't have kids to raise. We've already done that.
Hmm.
We just have to enjoy the grandkids and great grandkids.
So when you get away by yourselves or with a friend or
We
two.
just let loose.
Okay.
If somebody tells us a good place to eat, we'll try it out.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
we've done that just recently,
Yeah.
haven't we? I have backseat drivers and passenger side drivers usually.
So
And
who
if
does
she's
the
still,
driving?
Usually
yeah, and if
Carol,
she's
she
still
likes
wearing
to
her
drive.
sunglasses and it's dark outside,
Yeah.
then we remind her that she might need to take those.
Judy, Lois, and I, we were going along, and one of you said, "You still have your sunglasses on?" I thought everything looked kind of
Dark.
Got dark early that day.
But the freedom, I mean, we live in a country that your freedoms are so many. Well, you just don't appreciate it.
So there's a lot that people take for granted.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, thank you ladies again for your time. Appreciate you looking back on Williamsville history for us and giving us a few lessons for the future. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time.